Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What up?
We're continuing on with the Boys Diabolical. We're going to watch episodes 7 and 8 back to back. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see a cut-down version of our reaction because we're only allowed to show you a limited amount of picture-in-picture. However, if you want to watch the whole thing with us, uncut, uninterrupted, head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/JabyKoay, where you can watch the whole show with us, but you will need your own Amazon Prime subscription so you can open up the show in an adjacent window to our reaction. For the patrons, we are watching 7 and 8 discreetly. It's going to be uploaded discreetly so that it's easier to sync up for you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. And patrons, if you're watching this on Patreon, thanks so much for supporting us here. Here we go.
Okay, very funny, man.
All right. You gotta go all the way now.
Sonny.
John.
Told you. Davy.
No!
여보.
Please, stop!
It's quick. Or not.
Come on.
Oh!
What did you do to me?
Fire! Please.
Oh, this is crazy. It's like you don't see. Oh, what's her power?
She's got the bullets.
Oh.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. It's like Groot.
Yeah. God, they're getting pulverized.
Things are supposed to be.
What, you weren't supposed to get sick either.
John.
What's wrong? What's happening?
It wants to eat. Is it the cancer?
It's eating everything.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Look, it's growing bigger and bigger. Ooh. How do you defeat it?
Yeah, it just seems like it would absorb everything.
Yeah, is it attached to her? Can she, like, pull it back in?
And call the police, the army.
John, we have to stay and help.
There's nothing we can do. It'll kill us.
We have to try.
What can you do?
It's defying the natural order of things. She's supposed to die.
I
Oh,
think
yeah. No! Doesn't want to.
Sonny!
Is it? Oh, it's gonna eat him.
Leave her alone!
Oh, no one's tried that. Oh, it didn't like that.
Oh, it was her that did it? I thought it was this little electric gun that did that for a
Yeah,
second.
me too.
I guess we were supposed to think that.
걱정하지 말고 가요.
This is so sad.
Ugh, I know.
식사 챙겨주는 거 잊지 말아요. 나 없다고 끼니 거르면 안 돼요.
Oh, man. It's written by Andy Samberg.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That was so funny, you guys. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, so many Koreans working on it too. That's great.
You thought that was a dude.
I did think that was a dude. Sorry, I was like, oh my god, so progressive. But damn, like they did such a good job as well for like I love when short films are able to condense like everything that you need to know about the characters and the story. What was this short film, like 15 minutes or less?
Yeah.
And it just, you know exactly where he's coming from, you know the relationship between the two of them, like you understand it, and it's like it's so heartbreaking. And for me, the thing that got me the most was when she's all like, don't forget to eat on time, because that's such a mom thing to say. It's like, oh,
it's like the first 20 minutes of Up, but with superpowers.
yeah. It kind of is like, oh man, I wasn't expecting to cry in this little series.
Do you think that security guard's still in the closet?
Yeah. That's the safest place to be. Everybody else got messed up.
Interesting how quickly she learned her powers. I suppose you needed that for this particular short film.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also one of those things where maybe a lot of the time the superpowers they're a part of you, so it's like recognizing who you are now and then kind of gaining control over the power. But that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Especially like stories about
Old
families and old people get me every single time.
Well, I mean, you understood right away what was going on with him. I mean, he was desperate to save his wife, who presumably they've been together for decades.
Yeah.
He's out of options, you know? She's about to die. He's just trying to figure out something, and here he's got access to this thing that could save her life. Why not take a chance?
It kind of reminds me of, Frankenstein, like in classic literature, that kind of thing where you're trying to play God and it doesn't work out well for you. You know, like with all good intentions, you're trying to save a life.
Yeah, but
and
I think what's cool about this, though, is, typically with that kind of stuff that, they go out weak, but she went out strong.
yeah.
I think that was cool.
And he got his, even though the time was limited, he did get that last little moment with her. It's heartbreaking.
I thought that was cool.
It was beautiful. I love this one as well. I think
it was hilarious.
I'm genuinely surprised that it said written by Andy Samberg, because that's not what I associate Andy Samberg with, but that was a very, very sweet little story.
Old guy losing his woman. Hilarious.
So funny.
Anyway, we should move on.
This is great. Oh my God. I wasn't expecting, I feel like this season, this little show has just gotten better and better with each episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
Giancarlo.
the latest and, might I say, greatest addition to the Morton crime-fighting family, the Homelander.
Oh, some backstory.
Has Vought been so excited
Oh, it's
to work
like a
with
flashback?
a superhero of the Homelander's caliber?
This is like when he was starting out, I guess.
Yeah.
How are you getting ready for everything this city can throw at you?
Great question. Vought's teamed me up with someone I've idolized my entire life. My friend. And yours. Black Noir!
Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about him.
Oh, the ego is already kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
We should drop the. Just Homelander is better.
This is where it begins.
Their toxic poisons drift into our schools, our parks, our homes, and cause this.
These hostages don't have 14 minutes. I'm going in.
Wait, Homeland.
I'm sorry, but you'll need to stay here until the authorities arrive.
Ow! I can't breathe!
You'll be fine.
You wrapped a metal pipe around my chest! What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh.
Damn.
I don't want to die.
Shit. Okay, here we go.
Please, we just work here. We don't make any decisions.
You might kill the hostages.
No, he had control.
It's hard to hold a gun when it's 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, you idiot!
Whoopsie.
Oh, shit.
Stop. I just need to think. You're all being too loud, and I need to think.
You're a fucking fascist murderer!
Shut up!
I'm the hero. You love me.
You're a monster!
Everybody's dead.
Oopsie.
No. Grody.
Oh, God. Oh, please, oh, God.
No. They made me do that. I didn't want to, but they made me.
Uh-oh.
You don't fucking understand. Oh, this is perfect, isn't it? You're gonna use this to get rid of me, aren't you? Keep her spot as Bot's #1 hero. Well,
She's gonna just kill her. What?
come here.
He's like, stop!
You just don't want the competition, do you? But let's be honest. It's not really a competition, is it?
Oh, classic ninja moves.
It's my turn. I paid my fucking dues.
Oh no.
Since
Disaster.
Oh, that got really bad. How's Noir okay?
Oh, fuck.
How's she
Dang.
still alive?
That woman doesn't die. He's gonna kill her. Buddy, we're on the same team.
Believe it or not, even with everyone dead, your ratings went up.
Good. You know, you were wrong about Noir.
Was I?
He had a few things to teach me after all.
How did he drink that?
What did he write on that note?
I don't know. Friends? Well, I'm on your team? I don't know.
All right.
So much curious.
Well, now that the season is concluded, I would say that episode 4 and 7 were my favorite. Those were the most poignant and, I guess, emotional. You know, the most meaningful to me overall. I mean, the whole thing with the poop episode was amusing, and it's.
I liked it. It was fun. It was, it was
discovering
amusing.
your inner power and all that
Yeah,
stuff, and knowing your own self-worth and not needing the validation of two
owning your shit.
punk-ass white Karens.
Yes.
This episode was cool as a sort of look at the genesis of Homelander, because we've seen him as a kid and we see who he is now, but we didn't see the genesis of him being indoctrinated into Vought and how that whole thing started.
Yeah.
And so that is an interesting place to go. I almost wish that, like I mentioned earlier, for that kind of stuff, I almost wish that we had a live action rendition of that, of seeing him coming into his own and why he became the way he became. Much like what they're trying to do now, where they're trying to shed light on his history and give him more depth, make him more three-dimensional. So he's not, even though he's a bad guy, he's not all bad. Like, you see where he came from, why he gravitates towards the people that he does, and why he behaves the way that he does. And so this sheds even more light, which is fascinating, because you see how, for all intents and purposes, how innocent he is, even when he comes onto the stage the first time.
Yeah.
And when he has his first experience in the field, he's trying to do right, and it's just going terribly wrong. And that's what puts him on this other path of being more cold and less empathetic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard. It's hard to watch that because, you do see that kid and what they did to him, what they, the experiments that they did to him that kind of made him the way he is. So, like, you really do see how unhinged he is and how he's struggling with those, like, that trauma, those demons and stuff like that.
Even with what's-her-name, who was influencing him just before he went out on his mission.
Yeah, I thought that was Stillwell.
Yeah, the way she was speaking to him and sort of mentally manhandling him, like, that was kind of awful. Like, he's basically this innocent kid, even as a grown-up, and she's directing him in this particular way that he's not right.
He's not right in the head.
Yeah.
And like, like the stories that he tells are basically projections of how he wished his childhood was. Like, everything that he says about, like, I liked baseball and I just wanted to play baseball. And it's like, he never played baseball ever.
Right.
He didn't have a normal childhood, and that's all he wished for, you know, to have like a loving family, a mother, and all of the stuff that, you know, I guess we take for granted, those of us that have it, you know. But I wanted to know more about Noir. He's still like a question mark, and maybe that's, you know, it's
by design.
That's just, par for the course for the character, because we don't know a lot about him. He doesn't talk. He barely, I think we saw him take off his mask like once.
He's an enigma.
He is an enigma. And I'm just like, I thought that we would get to know more about him in this animation series, but he's still an enigma, and I feel a little bit disappointed about that, because I just want to know more.
It's slightly confusing, because the thing about it is in the current episodes, he is essentially working straight for the top. He answers directly to the top, to what's his name, Giancarlo Esposito.
But the character is Stan Edgar. Giancarlo's character.
Okay, he answers directly to Stan Edgar, right?
Yeah.
And so here, what we see is, I'm not sure if what we're seeing is Stan Edgar's hand at play, like whatever he told him was a means of control. Like, I can't tell if that's what happened here, or if he was saying, I'm on your side, I don't like this. It was hard to determine which direction Black Noir was coming from. I almost wish his name was Enigma, because he really is just an enigma.
He really is an enigma,
Yeah, because we haven't learned anything about him. He's just this odd character, but he has loyalty and an allegiance to Stan Edgar, and that's all we know.
And like strangely obsessed. Like, he's very obsessive about things. Like, he just won't let go.
Right.
I mean, which is very handy for your, attack dog.
Correct. So it was cool to get some insight on the history of Homelander, and I guess how Homelander and Noir became friends-ish. And but to kind of not to repeat myself too much, but episode 4 and 7 I thought were the most poignant of all of the ones in here, and I enjoyed those the most. It got better as it went along, because like the first 1 and 2 were like, they're all right.
Yeah. I don't know if we didn't decide that we were gonna watch all of these in one sitting, if I would have carried on after the first couple episodes. I was just kind of like, it's all right, but I'm not loving it. And then as the show progressed, I really, really enjoyed it. Maybe it would have been better if they had changed up the placement of some of these, because I feel like you ought to start with maybe one of your stronger ones just to get people really hooked, and then you can kind of have maybe a couple of the weaker ones in the middle.
To the producers, it was the strongest one to start with, because it was the most violent.
The baby?
The one with the baby was the most violent one,
I guess.
If you think about it, just the sheer level of gore of all the episodes, that was by and large the most violent one, in terms of just sheer volume of gore that you're watching throughout the entire episode. Episode 2 obviously had violence, but it was mostly concentrated in just back-to-back killings of the parents.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Again, episode 3 had a pinnacle moment, and all the violence was concentrated there.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. You get my point. Like, I don't have to keep droning on about this. Episode 7, like, again, it's all the same thing, where it comes to this climactic point in the story where it's building towards the climax, and that's where the violence starts to be concentrated. Whereas with episode 1, it was kind of throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, I can see why they thought that might be the strongest one, but it emotionally wasn't. And I think that it's a strange thing where this happens to be a show that does some interesting emotional stuff.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how this is all framed from the producers' perspectives, like how they see it. Because when I look at the marketing, it's really selling itself on the violence and sex. Like, okay, but I know when I'm watching this show, there is way more than that.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so fascinating to me. I'm like, I really wonder what the framing is for them, because there's all this like deeper stuff going on, and they're not selling it on any of that. That just happens to be there. Or maybe they feel like they have to sell it on violence and sex, and then you get there and you find out it's so much more than that. I have no idea. It's a curious thing for me. Like, I just wonder, like, what is going on over there. If they showed me episode 7 first, that would have had me hooked. I would be like, whoa, this is where we're starting. I cannot wait to see the rest of these. Or episode 4, I would have been like, whoa, okay, yeah, like
it's certainly different. Like, it was an interesting take, and in a way a departure from what we're used to in the series, and I guess that's what is fun about something like this, because it takes on the world and some of the characters and everything that we are used to and that we like, and that we enjoy from the live action series, but allows the creators to play with it in a different way, like whether it's kind of going really crazy fun with it like Awkwafina did with the magical poop, or whether you want to go emotional with it like episodes 4 and 7. Like there's a lot of scope to just kind of try out different things and do different animation styles and that, so I did appreciate it for that.
I think that with any collection of vignettes like this, whether it's the Animatrix or the Star Wars I forgot
Visions.
The Visions, whatever it is, you're always going to get like a couple of weird ones, ones that you probably wouldn't ever revisit, and then others that really stand out. And you got some so-so ones in between, but you generally get at least a few that are super cool, and I definitely got that experience here, where there was a few in there where I was like, well, those are pretty awesome. So anyway, that's it, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed watching The Boys Diabolical with us. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Patreon. Thanks so much for supporting us here. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.